Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of me showing off design work. Today I will be showing you Sparrowhaven, which is actually a rather old design from about a year ago. It was completed by Jereme and myself, and then he posted it, but he's left Nexus and most of his, well actually all of his stuff is gone, so I'm going to re-release the modders resource for people to use. Sparrowhaven is actually an old hand-me-down design. It was the Redesign of Black Bear. That was for Project Brazil, but then it was out of Brazil, then in the Journeyman project, then back to Brazil, then out again, its own private mod, and now since nobody's using it, I'm just going to release it as a modders resource. And I've updated it greatly from when Jereme was using it, so there are a few benefits. This is what it actually looks like. Well, in-game. We were going to make a sort of horror-themed Silent Hill mod out of it. This was the last design phase when it was going to be its own private mod. So everything has this nice ambient, spooky feeling to it. Now the sounds and the music that you're hearing right now will not be in the final version. This is because I don't want to repackage everything. And I've also gotten rid of most of the custom model work, but the overall theme, this gray spooky area, we're going to keep this because frankly I love the way it looks. Okay, what you're seeing now is the swamp. Now the swamp was a let's see, the last time that I received orders from Brandon to add something, the swamp was included, but he wanted something a lot bigger than this. But I think that the little pond is a little bit better. And anyway, the pond runs parallel to the main road network, which connects throughout the entire landmass. And let's see, oddly enough, because of the way that we have the mist set up in the actual mod, you will not need an LOD for this, so that's luckily something that I don't have to worry about. Nav meshing. We have, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we have most of the nav meshing done. Everything except for the military base and the campsite and the power station. But those areas are so easy to do a handmade nav mesh on that I just didn't feel as though I really had to. Now the forest that we just went through is completely different. That's a bitch to nav mesh, and I did that one on my own because I realized that if I didn't do it myself, then no one would ever touch this resource. The house that you're seeing up in front of me is actually the replacement that I did. In Project Brazil, we were going to have a very specific structure. I can't really tell you much about it because I'd get a lot of angry mail. But so I replaced it with something a little bit more efficient, and that's the house that it's going to be in. It's going to be a sort of, I was wanting to make it like a Resident Evil mansion, but you know, I may not get my wish on that. But yeah, now you can see what I mean by the fog. I don't really need to generate an LOD because of the way the fog works. Oh, and here is the logging camps. We had initially intended on doing this for Project Brazil, but I think most of them didn't translate over, which isn't really that bad because you can redesign them from nothing. But I went ahead and added them a lot into Sparrowhaven, which was, in hindsight, a really good decision. They were sporadically dotted all over the landscape. And I'd also like to take this moment to explain the Railroad Truss Bridge. Originally, the design for that thing was going to be a little more expansive. There was a waterfall, and in the end we got rid of it because I don't know what the exact reason was, but anyway, I rebuilt it in Sparrowhaven, and there's no waterfall in front of it to give that majestic look, but it still holds a spot. This little encampment up here, most of it's going to be gone for the release. It's really quite sad. I deleted most of Jereme's script triggers and a lot of his mesh assets because I wanted a blind release for people to tinker with. but if you want to re-add them, you can. And I also left all of Jereme's previous scripting in the actual mod. The reason for this is quite simple. I didn't want to get rid of everything that he contributed because, to be honest with you, he did a really good job. In fact, he actually designed most of the weather you're seeing now. But I'll go back through this again later. What we're about to do, and we're going to splice the video feed here towards the end, and I'll tell you when. Because I'm going to take you to the right, which will lead you towards the new design for Fort Dagger Point and the rec center. And that's what we're doing right now. This road forks 2 different times, but I'll tell you when we splice the video on both occasions. Let's see here, such as right here. It forks again, but we're going to go to Fort Dagger Point, which is over here. Those of you who watch my videos know that Fort Dagger Point originally had a totally different design to it. It was going to be like this frozen military base, but that was back in Fallout 3, and most of the ICE assets were not included in the release of Fallout New Vegas. So I had to kind of go back and think how else I'd want to do this. And it resulted in a very unique design. I can't show you the other half because there's only so much stuff I can do in 15 minutes. But what is not included here is the other half of the design work for Fort Dagger Point that I did. And that includes the battle dome. So beneath the surface of this lovely, lovely national park, there is actually a top secret military base dedicated to training soldiers in what I like to call the battle dome. And if you open it up in the design doc, you'll laugh your ass off. Sorry, not out. You can't laugh it out. You'll laugh your ass off because of how it looks. It's just like this giant underground dome filled with like this untouched suburban town. And then you can just go in there. And what I really wanted to do was like have the raiders and stuff that are supposed to be there, like just send wave after wave of mutants after you. But you know, that's neither here nor there. And what I really love about the design is this. You can see the house being lowered down there for the battle dome, and this is like a straight drop down. I mean, I put in the safety collision barrier so that you wouldn't jump, but it's like just this massive drop straight down the landmass, and I really love the way it came out. But this is one of 2 hidden bunker entrances on the landmass. The other one is like a hidden vault entrance, but we'll cover that later. Okay, this is where I spliced the video. Now I'm going to take you to the rec center. The rec center is just this combination of a diner, a gas station, and a camping ground, which I built over here. Initially, this wasn't in the original design for Black Bear, but I kind of thought that it would be a cool thing to add because I had a complaint about the river, you not being able to see the river and where it connects to the waterfall, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll show you the river. But that's more of a lover's quarrel, so I don't want to get into that. Yeah, this is the camping ground stuff. I really wanted there was going to be something else here, but we didn't put it into the final design. It was like going to be this big ghost battle, but it's something completely of its own monster, and so I'm just going to leave that out. Okay, this is where I spliced the video again. Now we're going to head into the actual town of Sparrowhaven. Now the town is named something completely different in Project Brazil. Not really, but it's the 2 designs vary greatly. For starters, I wanted like a Silent Hill looking town, and I wanted to put it on the side of a mountain, and there was a whole lot more to it than this, but finally I kind of narrowed it down to the basics of what I wanted. And the town has this really good look to it. It centers all around this one fountain that you can just... And the mutants, I do not know if I want to keep them or lose them. I'm probably going to keep them for the final release, and then people can do whatever they want with the mutants. But you have the fountain, and then to your immediate left you have the town hall, which is, I'm pretty sure that someone will find a different use for the town hall. Maybe a zombie showdown. And this is the first area that we actually did for the Sparrowhaven design work, and it is fully nav meshed. The whole town is. Everything down to the church was nav meshed initially. And I'll admit that I went back through it and did some stuff, and it's looking good. Now, most of the epic fail triangles of you forgot to install your meshes correctly have been deleted. This is because I didn't want to have all of this leftover garbage for... Garbage is not... I didn't want to have all this leftover stuff for people to worry about in the final design. As in, then they had to go back through and figure out what they wanted to do. Did they want to keep it? Did they want to beg for the meshes and textures? I'm like, I'll just get rid of them. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Which is a shame because I'm really not comfortable deleting most of the stuff that Jereme put into the project. But anyway, I'm about to splice the video here again. It's just going to take me right across the bridge. To your right, you have the old pet cemetery. That was a joke. And if you take the tunnel directly in front of you, you'll be visiting something that wasn't originally invested into Project Brazil. Among the numerous things that I added, there was a power plant. I also added a secret vault, but that's something completely different. I won't be able to show you the secret vault entrance, but it's this. You'll know it when you see it. Let me put it that way. It has a unique entrance all into itself, and I thought about doing some brief interiors for you before I release the mod. I probably will. I have nothing else better to do today. The power plant you can see right now is that giant structure, and I'll admit that it looks a lot better up close than it does at a distance. And you can see where I added another logging camp to your left, and here's a stream, and the stream has been altered now to have all this spooky fog effects, and I did my work here. Let's see, the overall, I think that if you were to add all of the dead money exteriors together, they would equal this one landmass, which is saying something. And this was the rejected design for Black Bear in Project Brazil, which is kind of a shame because, I mean, it looks a lot, I'm not going to say that, it looks better. Or at least I think it does. And then you have the power plant, and, yes, I did some work. Anyway, I'm going to splice the video again. Now I'm going to take you to the other area. The other area that I designed, well, more accurately redesigned, was the quarry. I'm man enough to admit this. The one that Brandon had laid out was bigger and more impressive than the quarry that I have designed for Sparrowhaven. But I really couldn't fit the thing in anywhere else. I mean, that was how big his was. I really couldn't think of a way of fitting it in here without having the quarry absolutely dominate the landscape. So I just kind of went in and chopped it down to something that was, for me, more manageable in the design. And I ended up with, well, it looks okay. Once again, this is going to be an area that I didn't have time to nav mesh, but because there aren't a bunch of trees in the way, it shouldn't take you long. But, you know, I did most of the heavy lifting. Like 90 some odd percent of the heavy lifting. And leaves about 10% of the heavy lifting for people to do. Anyway, this is what the new quarry looks like. And you can see where it heads down to the mines. That was my way of really dodging a lot of work. If you wanted to do some really cool interiors, and I thought that I would leave you like the space to build some mines. But that's you know, kind of my way of dodging responsibility. Anyway, we're about to run out of time in a few minutes. Like I said, there's only so much that I can cover in 15 minutes because that was my video time limit for YouTube. If it was up to me, I would have my 30 minutes by now, but I got to get at 500 viewers before I can get that. Woo! So, I'm working my way there slowly but steadily. And if you follow this tunnel, it'll eventually lead you out on the railroad truss bridge where all the dead bodies were hanging off of it earlier. But anyway, that's all that I have time to show you, and you have a good day.